After being introduced by Jast, he joined in the conversation. We soon found he lived in the village we had selected for our winter quarters, and was on his way there. We supposed he was traveling as we were, and invited him to join our party. He thanked us and said he was able to make the distance much more quickly than we could, that he had stopped in the village to see a relative and would be home that evening. The conversation then turned to the temple the three of us had visited with Emal and Jast. This man spoke quietly and said, "I saw you sitting on the parapet of the temple that night." Then he went on and gave the dream or vision just as it came to me, and as it has been set forth in this book. This came as a surprise to me and my associates, as I had not mentioned the occurrence to them. This man was a perfect stranger to us, yet he recounted the dream as vividly as it had appeared to me. Then he went on to say, "You were shown just what we are shown, that man comes forth in unity, just as long as he has consciously realized this and used the power and dominion rightly. But the moment he, in his mortal self, conceived dual powers, he began to see dual. He misused this power and brought forth duality. For man is a free will agent, and brings forth that which he gazes upon. Then diversity and wide separation resulted, and this has followed him all over the earth. But a change is coming. Diversity has about reached its limit, and mankind is recognizing that all came forth from the one source. Recognizing this, men are now coming closer and closer together. Man is beginning to realize that every other man is his brother instead of his enemy. When man does fully realize this, he will see that just as all came from the one source, all must return to that source, or become as brothers in reality. Then he will be in heaven and will recognize that heaven means the inner peace and harmony created by man right here on earth. He will then see that he makes his heaven or hell just as he chooses. This heaven has been conceived rightly, but misplaced geographically. He will know that God dwells within him, and not only within him, but in everything about him, every rock, every tree, every plant, every flower, and every created thing, that God is in the very air he breathes, the water he drinks, the money he spends, that God is the substance of all things. When he breathes God as much as he does air. When he partakes of food, he partakes of God as much as he does of food. It is not our wish to form new cults or sects. We feel that the churches that are established today are sufficient, and they are the logical centers to reach out and help the people to the realization of God through the Christ in all. Those associated with the churches must realize that the church but typifies the one thing, the Christ consciousness in all mankind. If they realize this, where can the diversity lie but in the concept of man's mortal mind, and not in the church? Wherein then is one church or society different from another? The diversity thought to exist today must be wholly in man's mortal mind. See what this diversity has led to: the great wars, the intense hate engendered between nations and families and even individuals, and all because one church organization or another has thought that its creed or doctrine was better than that of another. Yet all in reality are the same, for they all lead to the same place. It would not be possible for each to have a heaven of its own, for if it did, when a fellow man finished with his particular brand of church organization and was ready to receive his reward, he would be obliged to spend the remainder of his existence looking through the maze of heavens for the particular one he is destined for. The church organizations and those associated with them are coming closer each day, and the time will come when they will be united as one. When all are as one, there will be no need of organization. Yet the fault does not lie wholly with church organizations. Few people have awakened to the realization of what life really holds for them. We find the greater majority drifting through life, dissatisfied, dazed, crushed, or uncertain. Each must learn to lay hold of life and begin to express from his own life center, with purposeful, definite action, the gifts that God has given him. Each must unfold his own life. It is not possible for one to live for another. No one can express your life for you, and none can say how you must express your own life. As the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given unto the Son to have life in himself. A soul cannot realize this and just drift, for the whole purpose of life reveals itself in the privilege and opportunity of expressing the God-self within. That man is and shall be the divine image and likeness of himself is God's purpose for man. To express that which God has conceived for him should be man's great purpose in life. When Jesus was on the mountaintop and his disciples came to him, see what words of wisdom he spoke unto them. His consciousness was awakened in that high resolve that man can unfold in the fullness of power only when he has a true ideal, a real purpose in life. A seed can begin to grow only when it is firmly fixed in the ground. The God power within can bring forth a true desire only when it is firmly fixed in the soul of man. We must all know, as Jesus did, that the first spiritual impulse toward expression is the definite desire to express. Jesus said, "Blessed be the poor in spirit," realizing that any limitation in life that can create a desire in the individual to rise superior to the limitation and free himself for it is good, or free himself from it is good. He realized that need is the prophecy of fulfillment. He realized that need is the prophecy of fulfillment. He looked upon every need as soil prepared for seed. If the seed were planted, then allowed to grow and come forth, it would fill the need. Need, or desire, in the unfoldment of life is misunderstood. That it must be crushed out of the heart is taught by some great teachers. Jesus said, "Woe unto you who are satisfied. If you are satisfied, you are at a standstill." In order to contact life fully, we must seek each moment to express life fully. Desire for this is the urge toward it. Weary of crawling in the dust of the earth, man yearns to fly, and this longing invites him to find the manifestation of law that will enable him to rise above his present limitation. Finding it, he is able to go where he will without thought of time or distance. It has been said that man proposes and God disposes. The reverse is true, for God proposes and man disposes. If man is so disposed, he can do all that God does. Cannot the Son do what the Father has done? The failure of outer things to satisfy leads the soul to seek the power within. Then the individual may discover that I am. He may know that within him lies all power to satisfy the soul, to fulfill its every need and desire. This knowledge may not come until the individual is driven by the buffeting of the world to seek this inner plane of peace and calm.